285 yards on the ground for the Eagles. The defense, for the most part in that game, played very well, forcing turnovers, getting after Matthew Stafford. The head coach, Nick Sirianni, spoke about his defense, but also about Saquon Barkley's arrival in Philly afterwards.
That was a championship effort by the defense, and we earned a right to play for a championship, the NFC Championship this week against a really good football team.
How much of a luxury is it to have Saquon Barkley, who's able to
given the conditions or not in the conditions, it don't matter. It's a luxury to have him. That's for darn sure. Love him. I can't say enough good things about him and the leadership that he brings to this football team. He's special.
I just wonder how often will people bring up the fact that New York didn't want him. It just still is such a freaking mind blower. But you know what's even more of a mind blower is that if they did want him and if they did keep him, he would not be having the season that he's having right now.
No.
And then he goes down in history as, he got off to a good start, but he ended up being a bust.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild being able to see actually how things could play out with these types of players that go that high in the draft when something good goes their way versus you going to a crappy organization because of how good you were in college.
Best thing that happened to Saquon Barkley was joining the Eagles.
Oh, clearly.
Had he stayed in New York, yeah, it's a great story. They figured out a way to get it done. He's back,
But it's much of the same. It's much of the same.
And in Philly, behind that offensive line in that offense, that entire team goes through Saquon Barkley.
He should get MVP of the league. He really should win MVP, the MVP award. Again, I think if he went and got the record, the single season rushing record, I don't think that you can go in a different direction from him in getting that award. Now, I know that Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen have had amazing years. I don't think anyone has had more of an impact on a team and has been as valuable and has been as critical to the success of their team and what that looks like, even in big games, more than Saquon Barkley. And that played out in that show yesterday.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Even the quarterback was able to start having success because the defense had to play and respect the fact that I'm faking it's a run pass option with Saquon Barkley. It's the same exact thing that Baltimore should have worked to establish and lived and died by it. If it didn't work, I don't think anyone would have a problem with saying, you know what, they did what they do all year long and it didn't work. Okay. Philadelphia did what they needed to do and they stayed true to what their DNA was, and it played out the way that it was supposed to play out. They knew Saquon was getting that ball and they still couldn't stop him. You're on that last drive where you got to stop them and this, that, and the other. You know it's Saquon Barkley time. The announcers are saying it. Everybody's saying it. And you still gave up like a 65. So that's why I said, why not go for the record? Like when you look at this 2020 hindsight retrospect, Saquon was ripping off 65, 70-some yard touchdowns, 40-yard runs. He was ripping off some really, really big runs. All he needed was 100 yards. He could have got 100 yards in the first half of that last game. Now, I know that's living in the past, and I don't want to, do that. But, my gosh, that dude is one of the most impressive dudes. And if you're asking me, if I had a vote to give, I would vote Saquon Barkley the MVP of the league this year. Like you're the league MVP, not offensive player of the year. That's your league MVP, if you ask me.
I watch the Eagles and I go, as the Rams are driving late in that game, thinking, how are they in this game still?
It was weird.
There's like a couple of moments in an Eagles game seemingly every week where you're like, really? Because they're so talented and they've got so much to offer that you're like, how is this not more lopsided? How is Matt Stafford near the red zone with an opportunity to win this game on the road?
Because they're good. I told y'all coming into it, that was the third hottest team playing football on my board outside of Baltimore and Buffalo. Outside of Baltimore and Buffalo, the Rams were the hottest. And by the way, they delivered again. The defense delivered, 7, 8 sacks again? They were out there gigging. They were getting after it. They dang near knocked Jalen Hurts out of the game.
Yeah.
They folded him up real nice and neatly.
Yeah, I don't know how healthy he was the rest of the
I don't know how healthy he'll be moving forward. And that could be, that game came with some prices on there. They left that game not 100%, I'll tell you that. And so you look at the way they had to win that game. It was an ugly game, but you ask why was it so close? It's because that Rams team is a pretty doggone good Rams football team. They were pretty doggone good, man. And I'm telling you, in my mind, I was watching that game, and I was like, this team can come in, and if they can weather that initial storm of being in this hostile environment and what they're going to try to do in terms of pushing them around, if they can meet them head-to-head physically, this is going to be a game. And it turned out to be a game.
Yeah.
Turned out to be a game.
The drive before LA's final possession that resulted, in the turnover on downs and basically iced the game. But the drive before to where Philly on a second down decided to roll Jalen Hurts out on a bum knee and then he gets sacked and you put him in 3rd and long. Like, why wouldn't you just give the ball to Saquon Barkley?
When in doubt, just give him the ball.
Even if you turn the ball, you got to punt it anyways, or dude, just give the ball to Saquon Barkley.
Give him the ball, man.
And as you mentioned, they knew at times during that game that was where the ball was going, and they couldn't stop him.
The play that he ran, that long-ass touchdown, him and Jalen Hurts are in the backfield talking. They show it, and they're both kind of like smirking. Like, hey, man, just hand it off. I got it. And that man just took off. They still ain't caught him yet. He's still running right now. He ran all the way back home.
By the way, the thing about the Giants is it continues to get worse for them. Because it's one thing if, hey, Saquon had a big game.
Maybe not a big deal in the playoffs.
Yeah, he had a big game in the regular season.
No,
okay.
He's the reason.
He's had a couple of big weeks in the regular season. Yeah, not great look for the Giants.
No, he's the reason.
Saquon's having a really good year. He's on pace for 2,000 yards. Not a great look for the Giants. Hey, Saquon got 2,000 yards. He's probably going to win Offensive Player of the Year. Yeah, not a great look for the Giants.
He just ran for over 200 yards in the biggest game of the season so far.
They sat him the final week. They probably could have gotten the record on you. Yeah, not a great look for the Giants. Oh, and by the way, they go to the postseason, they go to the playoffs, and he's running for 200.
You do realize that is their
just get worse.
That
and worse.
has to be their only refuge. Is that they didn't break the record,
right?
That's the only thing that they can lean on. And say
worse.
Unless they win if they win the Super Bowl, I don't think you can get out of the way of it. But if they don't win the Super Bowl, it's kind of like, whew, they didn't win it, and Saquon didn't break the record on us. Here we go. That's a win. There's your win.
Yeah, it's it just the whole thing's mind-boggling that you look back on. But congrats to Saquon.
It just shows you some people just do not know what the hell they're doing, and they get paid a whole lot of money to just not know what the hell they're doing.
Can't get right.
Can't get it right.